Arianna Zuanazzi is the Open Science and Research Collaboration Specialist at the Child Mind Institute. With a background in cognitive neuroscience, she is passionate about exploring science at the intersection of art, storytelling, and society.
I'm currently the Open Science and Research Collaboration Specialist at the Child Mind Institute, which is an independent nonprofit that focuses on transforming the life of children and families who struggle with mental health and learning disorders. And we do that through science, education, and care. Here, my role as CMI is to lead open science initiatives, as well as data sharing efforts, and I also foster collaborations across different research and researchers and other stakeholders. So my main background, though, is linguistics and cognitive neuroscience. I earned my PhD at the University of Birmingham in the UK, and I completed my postdoctoral training at New York University. My research focus is linguistics, so how the brain processes language, as well as how the brain processes music. And I use different techniques such as MRI, EEG, MEG, and behavioral methods too.
Arianna has always been interested in interdisciplinary and intersectional approaches, which naturally led her to civic science.
I've always been living in this interdisciplinary world. So I started with linguistics, which was more like humanities, and then I moved to science. And I was really thriving in this world of, working on different fields and on different topics. And one aspect that always interests me is the intersection between science and society. So since when I was a PhD student, I wanted to talk about science outside lab. I also wanted to hear about what people have to say about how, you use science just outside of, the bench work or lab work that you do. And so I started my more civic science work by joining Pint of Science, which is an initiative that brings science to everyone, generally in a bar, in a pub. So researchers go and talk about their science, and they really, answer questions about general audience, which was very exciting. And then after that, given that my main research topic is language and music, I was also very interested in how you can use language and music to tell and to talk about this kind of research itself. So sort of like meta, linguistics and meta music, like how do you talk about language and music through language and music? So I joined a program that is called Symbiosis, where I was paired with a filmmaker to create a film on this topic. And we created a film called I Invite You. This filmmaker is now a friend of mine. It's called Yashu, and we have kept working together to create a film. We have another project that is called The Hidden Story. And so this is another chapter of how I really enjoyed using science and talking about science outside the lab itself. And finally, more recently, I joined BRAINY, which is the greater chapter of Society for Neuroscience. And I am the current president of BRAINY. So we also do outreach work through that. And I'm also I'm a resident scholar at the Sci Resident Collective, where I also work at the intersection between science and art.
Arianna's interest in open science and her commitment to making data accessible to non-scientists led her to her current role at the Child Mind Institute.
One of the aspects of what I was really enjoying in terms of, bringing science to everyone is the concept and the field of open science. So when you're working in science, sometimes it's very hard to bring the science that you do and the data that you work on to other stakeholders and other audiences that are not scientists. So I was trying to move more towards that direction. So to be able to, work with people that are interested in how you bring science to everyone through open science. So that's how I started this job. And this job really allows me to bring together more the research aspects of science and also the science outreach aspect through open science and open data.
One of the biggest challenges she has observed is the lack of spaces where people from diverse backgrounds can connect and collaborate on interdisciplinary work. This gap motivated her to begin creating those spaces herself.
I think that one of the main challenges is that this interdisciplinary world exists, but there are not many spaces where you can really know and meet people that are interested in different aspects of science, as well as are interested in other disciplines, are experts in other disciplines. So one of these challenges for me was to really find connections and talk about what I do and, listen to what other people do in the real world. So in the real academic space or in the world outside academia. So I would basically summarize this in the lack of interdisciplinary spaces and spaces where people can, are welcome to join regardless of their background, and they can really contribute positively by bringing more information and more knowledge to this space. One way to face these challenges is to create new spaces. I think this is something that I have been thinking about for a while. That's also the work that I do at the Sci Resident Collective, SRC. And it's very joyful as an experience because, I don't think I'm the only person that thinks that these spaces should be more spaces and should be, bringing in more people. And so every time I either create a space that is virtual or a real world space, or an actual, room where people can meet and work together, I always find a lot of joy and a lot of interest, which is something that I really enjoy.
One example of a collaborative space Arianna supports is BRAINY, a collective with an interest in brain science and making neuroscience accessible to all.
BRAINY is another interesting and really exciting space because it also brings together people that are all excited and interested about neuroscience and brain sciences more generally. So from people that work with humans to people that work with animal models to people that work in neuroscience because they're interested in that, but they have another career path. So we are a group of people that come from different organizations and that meet to organize and to really carry out projects and initiatives that are related to bringing science to everyone, bringing neuroscience to everyone in this particular case. So for instance, we have a BRAINY blog where people can write about neuroscience, so they can get in touch. Usually our students or people that are interested in talking about something that they find exciting about neuroscience, and then we help them write in the blog, and then this is posted on our website. We also have some activities during Brain Awareness Week every year, where we bring neuroscience-inspired activities to general audiences in a square, for instance, in Harlem this year, or in museums, so people really can get in touch with ideas and knowledge about neuroscience. This year, we are also collaborating with Taste of Science and Pint of Science, again, to bring more information and fun activities in the field of neuroscience. And at the end of the year, we're going to have a science and art workshop, where we are going to ask scientists and artists to work together to create something, innovative and new and, unexpected, I would say.
Another example of Arianna's efforts to create space for those interested in both art and science is Third Space.
I was saying before that one of the obstacles that I encountered is the lack of spaces for people that are interested in science and in art. I was lucky enough to join one of the spaces through Symbiosis, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed both the, being able to meet people that are interested in science and art, but as well as being able to create something together. So the Third Space idea comes from there, from the idea that we want to have more spaces that allow for people to meet with each other and, collaborate with each other. Not only that, but one of the main aim of this space is to investigate the space itself. So, for instance, what do scientists think of art? What do artists think of science? And what do they think about the collaboration? So, we had a project last year with Carly Groves, who is a student that worked with me at NYU, where we were really thinking from a social psychology perspective, how does the interdisciplinary space look like? How can we think about that? And what are the issues, but as well as what are the steps to move forward and to improve this space? And we have a preprint that we just put out. So if anyone is interested to read about that, we have that available to anyone.
Arianna's interest in the intersection of art and science stems from the unexpected ideas and insights that emerge through conversations and collaborations in this space.
have been in different interdisciplinary spaces with other experts or other people with different types of background. But I think the art and science space is very special, or at least is special to me, and people get very excited. And what I was saying before, one of the words that I think belong to this space is unexpected. So I sometimes, organize something or just an event, and we are just meeting together for one day, but in that day there are so many ideas, and the final product is so interesting and is neither science nor art, or it's both. So it's something that I can predict from the beginning, which I always find extremely exciting.
For those interested in doing similar work, Arianna recommends actively seeking out and connecting with like-minded collaborators.
Spaces don't exist without people. And so I think that for me, what was very helpful, but at the same time, open new doors and open new possibilities, was networking with people. There are a lot of platforms where people can network, including, for instance, LinkedIn. And networking means that you not only connect with somebody that in the future can be your collaborator or somebody can be your friend, but also that you find out about fields or, type of work that you have not thought about before. And so my suggestion would be really network, connect, and talk about what you do and what excites you to other people. There is always space for your ideas to really grow. Sometimes, I felt like a specific space was not the right space for my ideas to grow, and so I had to find another space. But I think that, connecting with people is key, especially in interdisciplinary fields where, you need to really find people that are interested in what you want to do, and people that really appreciate your background, your previous work. And I love hearing what people are doing. So that's also a very pleasant type of experience for me.
Arianna also emphasizes that whether you identify as a scientist, an artist, or both, what truly matters are your interests and goals, not the labels. She encourages people to put themselves out there and openly share their work.
Sometimes artists feel like they cannot identify as scientists, and scientists feel that they cannot identify as artists. So there is like a bit of an identity conversation about, who are you? Are you an artist? Are you a scientist? Are you both? Are you neither? And my advice, or, my thoughts about this is your identity depends on what you want to tell about yourself. And so it doesn't matter if you have a PhD in science or you don't. I think that your interest and what you want for yourself and how you talk about your work and how you talk about your interests is really what matters. So I really suggest for people to put themselves out there, to talk about what they do. If they have a passion that is outside their, the field where they work, they should still talk about it and share it publicly, because there is, it's very nice to see approaches that are not the typical approaches. And sometimes there is a bit of scare, about talking, for instance, about science if your background is not that. But I do find that the best conversations are with people that are thinking outside the box.